If everything in your life feels silent right now, if your prayers hit the ceiling, your plans keep crumbling, and you're questioning if God is even listening, don't ignore this. It could be a silent test of your faith. One of the first signs God is testing you is that He withdraws the emotional sense of His presence. You don't feel Him, but He's watching to see if you'll walk by faith and not by sight. Just like Job, who said, "Though He slay me, yet will I trust in Him." Job 13 verse 15. The second sign is divine delays. Doors you expected to open are sealed shut, not because God has forgotten you, but because patience is part of the test. Remember, even Lazarus was left in the grave 4 days before Jesus moved. John 11 verse 6. These delays are not denials. They are sacred pauses designed to expose what you really believe when nothing is working. A third sign is when you're surrounded by people who misunderstand you. Friends fall away, family questions your motives, and even those you trust start doubting your calling. Like Joseph, thrown in a pit by his brothers, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison. Yet it was all preparation for a palace. Genesis 50 verse 20. If you feel isolated, don't panic. God often removes voices so you can hear His more clearly. The fourth sign is when temptation increases in the very areas you thought you had victory. Old sins resurface, lust creeps in, and your spirit feels heavy, almost numb. This isn't failure, it's pressure revealing where you're still being purified. Even Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted. Matthew 4 verse 1. Not because He was weak, but because what was coming next required full surrender. And the fifth sign, perhaps the most overlooked, is that God starts pruning what you thought was permanent. You may lose a job, a relationship, even a ministry you poured your life into, not as punishment, but as alignment. John 15 verse 2 says He cuts off every branch that doesn't bear fruit, and even the fruitful ones get trimmed so they can grow. If things are falling apart, it might not be the enemy. It might be God rearranging your life to match your calling. Silent seasons aren't empty. They're loud in the Spirit. God hides in the stillness to see if you trust Him without fireworks, without applause, without constant reassurance. Anyone can praise when everything's clear, but real faith is forged in fog. So if you're in the dark right now, walk anyway. Pray anyway. Obey anyway. Because the test is not about results, it's about resolve. Will you worship in the waiting? Will you trust in the silence? Or will you give up just before the breakthrough you've been praying for finally comes crashing through the clouds? Hebrews 11 verse 6 says that without faith, it's impossible to please God. So if you feel tested, stretched, or even abandoned, know this. Heaven is watching, your response is your testimony, and God is closer than you think. Don't fail the test just because you can't hear the teacher.